Microorganisms are found everywhere in the environment and play a leading role in countless natural processes. Among other things, they operate the basic drug cycles that are necessary for the plant's supply of nutrients via the reaction of organic matter in soil. At these processes, greenhouse gases are released to the atmosphere at the same time. So, microorganisms also play a key role in relation to climate and climate change. In addition to exercising their function in the environment, microorganisms also have a great potential for use. Some bacteria and fungi, so-called biocontrol organisms, can inhibit the growth of harmful microorganisms. Technical enzymes and enzymes for food production can be isolated from bacteria, yeasts, and fungi, which are also major suppliers of pharmaceuticals such as antibiotics. Microorganisms can therefore be seen as suppliers of so-called ecosystem services, which are fundamental to the environment and to human life and activity. The section for microbiology and biotechnology is therefore researching the following topics: the effect of biochar in agricultural soil. Example, what effect does the supply of biochar have on the soil's microorganisms and macrofauna? Example, earthworms. Enzymes from Arctic bacteria, whose physiology is adapted to very cold temperatures and which therefore have enzymes that have potential technical or industrial utility. For example, in sustainable industrial food processes and in washing powders that work efficiently at energy-saving low washing temperatures. Interactions between microorganisms and between microorganisms and plants that can enhance our understanding of how we can utilize nature's useful microbiological resources to combat plant pathogens and as manufacturers of pharmaceuticals. Example, antimicrobial, antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-cancer. Find good bioindicators for microorganisms that destroy food under storage conditions, especially volatile metabolites that can act as early warning bioindicators. Biodegradations of foreign matter in soil and groundwater. The role of microorganisms in providing organic compounds at the valence state appropriate for assimilation into higher plants as well as understood in the largely microbial-mediated nitrogen and sulfur cycles are often quoted and discussed. Less attention is given to the contribution of microorganisms to the continuing decomposition of mineralization of carbon compounds, other than a cursory acknowledgement of their contribution to decay. Microorganisms found in the environment, as opposed to clinical microbes found within the human body. Specific major domains consist of archaea, eukarya, and bacteria. Of these, the bacteria and archaea are termed prokaryotes, and the eukarya are known as eukaryotes. Microorganisms within the eukarya include fungi, protozoa, and algae. In addition to major domains, the other important biological entities are unique group known as viruses that can affect eukaryotic or prokaryotic organism. Viruses have no metabolic capacity and rely on infected hosts to produce viral parts that self-assemble, similar to viruses or the viroids, which are infectious single-stranded RNAs that can infect plants. Microorganisms play an important role in ecosystem functioning. Beyond being able in the carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur cycles, they also participate in other biogeochemical cycles. Microbial metabolic activities lie at the heart of numerous interactions between the environment, plants, and microorganisms that recruit and shape the dynamics of a particular ecosystem. Simultaneously, climate change plays a vital role in the perceived temporal and spatial variation in microbial communities of particular ecosystem. Microbes are also involved in bioremediation, decomposition of organic matters, degradation of pollutants, degradation and removal of contaminants, restorations of degraded land, and etc. Plants recruit and interact with soil microorganisms that can alleviate biotic and abiotic stress in host plants. A better understanding of microbial function will support the development of strategies for plant protection against pathogens and improve the use of beneficial microbes for specific purposes such as plant growth stimulation and increased tolerance to environmental stress. Microbial components interacting with plant signaling and the resulting crosstalk are of interest. Bioremediation is a biological mechanism of recycling waste into another form that can be used and reused by other organisms. Nowadays, the world is facing the problem of different environmental pollution. Microorganisms are essential for a key alternative solution to overcome challenges. Microorganisms are survive in all places on the biosphere because of their metabolic activity is astonishing. Then come into existence in all over range of environmental conditions. The nutritional capacity of microorganisms is completely varied, so it is used as bioremediation of environmental pollutants. Bioremediation is highly involved in degradation, eradication, immobilization, or detoxification. Diverse chemical wastes and physical hazardous materials from the surrounding through the all-inclusive and the action of microorganisms. The main principle is degrading and transforming pollutants such as hydrocarbons, oil, heavy metal, pesticides, dyes, and so on. That is carried out in enzymatic way through metabolizing. So, it have great contribution role to solve many environmental problems. There are two types of factors. These are biotic and abiotic conditions are determined rate of degradation. Currently, different methods and strategies are applied in the area of different part of the world. For example, biostimulation, bioaugmentation, bioventing, biopiles, bioattenuation are common one. All bioremediation techniques, it has its own advantage and disadvantage because it has its own specific application. Microorganisms are widely distributed on the biosphere because of their metabolic ability is very impressive and they can easily grow in a wide range of environmental conditions. The nutritional versatility of microorganisms can also be exploited for biodegradations of pollutants. This kind of process is termed as bioremediation. It is continued through based on the ability of certain microorganisms to convert, modify, and utilize toxic pollutants in order to obtaining energy and biomass production in the process. Instead of simply collecting the pollutant and storing it, bioremediation is a microbiological, well-organized procedural activity which is applied to break down or transform contaminants to less toxic or non-toxic elemental and compound forms. Bioremediators are biological agents used for bioremediation in order to clean up contaminated sites. Bacteria, archaea, and fungi are typical prime bioremediators. The application of bioremediation as a biotechnological process involving microorganisms for solving and removing dangers of many pollutants through biodegradation from the environment. Bioremediation and biodegradation terms are more interchangeable words. Microorganisms are act as a significant pollutant removal tools in soil, water, and sediments, mostly due to their advantage over other remediation procedural protocols. Microorganisms are restoring the original natural surroundings and preventing further pollution. The aim of review to express current trend, the application or role of microorganisms in bioremediation and to contribute relevant background which is identified gaps in this thematic area. Presently, it is hot research area because microorganisms are eco-friendly and promising valuable genetic material to solve environmental threats.